if I ever. Well, whatever. I saw Waz. It's fine. I talked to Waz one time. Who cares? Not who cares about Waz. Who cares? Now it's just name dropping. Met the Pope? I did not actually meet the Pope. Adam Christianson is here with us, everybody. Adam Christianson, wrapping up the week. The week flies by, especially when you do it in like an hour and 10 minutes. But
that's a pretty quick week.
One more time. Yeah, it's nice to do it that way. MacCast, MACCAST, so MacCast.com. MacCast on Twitter as well. We've talked a lot about your show, and I'm pretty sure most everybody either watching or listening knows about it. But for people who don't, give me like a minute or less, what's it about, when it comes out, all those things for people that want to know more.
Sure. It comes out pretty much weekly. I have to be honest about my schedule. I don't have a necessarily set schedule, but usually 4 episodes a month, about every week. 7 to 10 days. And basically, there's kind of 2 parts to the show. I do a summary of the week's news, not just straight up news, but it's more, I call it news commentary. I go through the stories of the week. I find ones that are interesting to me, and I talk about my sort of take on them or my impressions on them. And then the back half of the show is really listener questions, feedback. People will ask questions, need help with their Mac issues or iOS issues, and we try and help and solve those. Occasionally I'll do interviews, or maybe I'll do sort of picks or new technology that I'm kind of into at the time, or stuff that I've discovered, either software or hardware. So again, the original concept, as I said last time, was sort of to kind of recreate the user group, which is go to a user group. You may talk about kind of the latest news, and then you kind of interact with people. You might have a company come in and show you some software. And so it's really about learning and trying to teach people how to use Macs and Apple technology more.
So I'm sorry to say, well, I don't know if I'm sorry to say. So for 10 weeks, we ran a feature on this show, or I ran a feature on this show called The Album Side, which was getting people to build the perfect album side. And you happen to join us when that feature is over. But the good news, I have a new feature that I'm doing, and you get to be the first one to try it. And if it doesn't go horribly, you'll be the first, as opposed to, hey, remember that one time they did that thing? This feature is called Wheel of Stuff. Now, the premise behind Wheel of Stuff is I'm going to ask you questions that may end up generating conversation. For people wondering why it's called Wheel of Stuff, it's because I have an app that I got in the App Store that has a wheel, and you can put your own stuff on it. And then you spin the wheel of stuff, and we'll see what Adam's answers are. Sir, are you ready to play our game?
I'm ready, a little bit frightened, but go.
No need to be frightened. The wheel is already spinning. Oh, I need to change that because that takes a long time when you're just sitting on dead air. There you go. One movie. The topic is one movie. Adam Christianson, something has gone wrong. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. Maybe something has gone right. Either way, though, you're only going to get one movie from now on. What's the one movie that you would have if you could only have one? And follow-up question, why?
That's... oh, man. I like movies. I watch a lot of movies.
Well, and that makes this particularly
so now
terrible.
I'm running through my head all the movies, like which is the one that I would watch over and over and over again, and not get sick of. That's a tough one.
Yeah. We're learning things about this game. Like maybe I should introduce you get to pass once, but we'll think about that for next week. For now,
I want to say like the obvious, like Star Wars. I could watch Star Wars over and over and over again and probably never get bored of it and absolutely love it. But does it seem too obvious? It seems too obvious for someone of my generation.
No, it's fine. I mean, honestly, if I had to choose one of those, and here's the thing. It's like I said earlier this week. I'm now asking you a question that I don't know if I could answer it. I think my most obvious one would probably be Citizen Kane. Yeah. Which is like, not of our age necessarily, but it's one of those movies that everybody's going to say Citizen Kane. But yeah, Citizen Kane. Or maybe The Third Man. I don't know. Tell me why Star Wars.
I think probably a big part of it's nostalgia factor. It was that sci-fi movie that came out at time when I was of a certain age as a kid, and it just blew me away, and it was like nothing else. And so, I had all the toys and the action figures, and one year for Christmas, we got the Death Star playset.
Holy cow.
It almost got taken away because we unwittingly found the hiding spot where it was hidden ahead of time.
Oh, sad.
And so Christmas was almost canceled that year. But yeah, no, those characters, that story is just, has a lot of nostalgia for me, and I can watch that movie over and over again. So if I was forced to just watch a single film, I think I wouldn't get bored with it. I kind of discover new things that I like about it. I was a huge fan of Jawas for whatever reason.
Nice.
Those guys really appealed to me. So
I if I had to choose one of those, I think it would be Empire. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I like a little bit darker, but there's still hope. I don't think, if you had asked me this question in my 20s, maybe my early 30s, I would have said Brazil. But Brazil ends with no hope, and who needs that in their coffee? So I went ahead and...
I haven't watched that movie in a long time. I need to go back and watch that. That is a great movie.
Oh, there's somebody, I can't remember who, might be Frank Conniff, might be somebody else, but somebody I follow on Twitter says that the Criterion Channel has now added basically all the extra stuff around Brazil as well, so like a documentary about it and things like that. Made me think about trying the free trial of the Criterion Channel just to check it out. But yeah, kind of depressing. That's the problem. I'm finding I'm drawn more lately to, the brighter and the lighter. Yeah, like Citizen Kane. All right, so I went ahead and spun. I'm going to spin again because basically I was about to ask you a very similar question. And most of the questions aren't, you only get one thing. And yet there was that one. Here we go. The worst meal I ever had.
Worst meal I ever had.
Now, this can be either the food was so terrible or it had gone rancid, or, it was the one where somebody told me, X, Y, Z. You can decide how you answer the question, but the question is, worst meal you've ever had.
Worst meal I ever had was probably we went to someone my wife knew from my kids' school. Mm-hmm. And I want to say they were from I'm going to get the nationality wrong. I know this. They were from the Philippines, I believe.
Okay.
And they served these things. They called them fish balls. Okay. And they were the fishiest, and you kind of had to be polite and eat those things. And it was just you really just kind of wanted to spit them out. They were not my kind of food. Yeah. I'm sure people love them. They loved them. Yeah. And I appreciate that, but
what's interesting, where you're talking about food from a different, background than your own, what you don't know now is whether you would actually like those if you had them some other time, and that person was just terrible at making them, or is it just that you hate that food?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe they were just a really bad version of it.
Yeah, next time you and I are someplace, we'll go out for it.
But it would be anything fishy. I can't do fishy, and I know certain cultures and certain foods they're designed to be that flavor. Yeah. But that's just not a flavor that's enjoyable to me.
Are you a sushi fan? Because last time you and I were supposed to have dinner, we were supposed to have sushi, and you bailed.
I do.
You
Sushi's
said because
fine.
You were sick.
Sushi should not be fishy, though.
That's true.
If you got fishy sushi, you're in trouble.
That's true. Yeah, it's honestly one of the reasons I love going for the hot whatever. The spicy tuna. Well, okay, because even if it's bad, how bad can it be? Mostly you're going, can I get some more water, please? All right, so I need to rework this list because I've come back on another one of the one things. Yeah, I'm gonna spin one more time because we already did the one movie thing, and that seems like it'd be overkill. Although maybe I should ask you as a bonus question if you do this one really quickly. But here is the one that actually came up. You're like, boo. I need to rework the whole list. And we'll do this, though, because this might be better.
Okay.
Best meal.
Best meal that I ever had.
Best meal that you ever had. Again, can be food, can be the place, can be the company, can be the news that was received. The best meal I ever had was...
I had a great meal with, do you know Oliver from Boinks Software?
I've met Oliver, and I think we know each other well enough that if I hit him up on Twitter or send him an email, he would know who I am, but we haven't hung out a lot.
So I think Oliver and Allison, this was in, I think, Long Beach, and it was just a steakhouse place, and so it wasn't so much the food. Mm-hmm. But what had happened was somehow these folks got the idea that I knew something about wines.
Okay.
And so we're all having dinner, and they asked me to go through the wine list and pick the wine. I guess I was the most knowledgeable, which means all of us were probably not that knowledgeable because I'm okay with wines. But anyway, so I went through the list, and I found, I think it was some sort of Zinfandel or something like that was on the list. It was a nice bottle of wine. Ordered it. Sommelier comes out to the table with the bottle, does the whole presentation thing. I'm looking at the bottle, and I'm going, I don't think that's the wine that I ordered. It was the same vineyard, but it was definitely not the same bottle. And I think the year was off, and I argued with the guy, and he kept insisting, no, this is what you ordered, blah, 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 blah. And so, like, argue. Had the wine. It was amazing. Conversation amazing. We all had a really great time. Bill comes.
Okay.
Yeah, that bottle of wine was really good because it was really expensive.
Okay.
So there was it kind of went a little bit bad after that, but we got it all sorted out. We didn't have to pay for the very expensive bottle of wine, and we got to enjoy it. So it was a great meal. It was a fun conversation. Not so fun maybe at the end, but all worked out. So
it sounds like an elaborate dine and dash.
I tried to tell the guy he had the wrong wine. So what are you going to do?